All right, welcome back to episode 118 of LEGO Marvel's Avengers as we start spreading the news. Yes, we are back in the Big Apple, back in New York, and we're going to be here for the foreseeable future, folks, from now until the time when we run out of stuff to show and we finally reach that magical 100% gold block or gold brick stuff. So here we're going to start off with a race, a rather long race involving our favorite speed character Spitfire. So here we go. Right, timestamp on this. Today is April 14th. This would be the anniversary of the assassination of President Lincoln in 1865, and courtesy of the North Carolina State Legislature, we do know as a fact that Abraham Lincoln was worse to the American South than, or at least in his policies toward the American South, than Hitler. So again, thank you, North Carolina State Legislature. Always appreciate you guys working so hard, keeping us straight on our history so that we don't get confused or lost or anything like that. Since we're using Spitfire at the moment, I just saw the movie Logan in theaters. I'm not gonna really go into my thoughts on that here, but there was a preview in that movie for the movie Dunkirk, which is going to be a look back at the British withdrawal from the shores of France and returning 300,000 men back home, 300,000 Brits back home. And speaking of Brits, we have found Agent Carter. Now we're going to do our traditional Agent Carter mission thing, where we try to grab a version of Steve Rogers.
Working for the SSR, I often felt invisible to my co-workers, but on missions, the skill of not...
And as we know from, if you've done these missions before, it's kind of amusing because she'll refer to your character a certain way, but she always refers to Captain America in her speeches in the third person. So even though we're right in front of her with a Captain America character, she will never acknowledge that fact. And I mean, I get that, but it just adds an additional bit of humor. All right, so we're following her down the street here, and all you have to do here is just keep following her, and eventually she will reach her destination. I think we're trailing the guy with the gun up ahead, but if he is the guy we're trailing, he's not making much of an effort to hide himself. Running around with a submachine gun through New York, not really hiding there. So we'll watch him go into the building, so now we know where he is, and that's the end of the mission. One of the other things I like about the Agent Carter missions is the audio for the people going by. I mean, even though the color goes black and white and the cars change to old-timey cars, the voice clips used for the people don't change. So you can hear stuff about modern-day Avengers events from the people as you walk by them in the Agent Carter missions. All right, so we're going to scoot around the outside here over into the dockyard, where there are a couple things we can do. We're going to be the Vision for this. We haven't been the Vision in a while. There was a time when, we were the Vision with every character. So we have to defeat the Destroyer minifig here. So I guess Vision is a character who, sort of proved himself in the eyes of Thor. Would be an appropriate character to take on the Destroyer armor with. and he's down to just a couple things. The Destroyer armor is your more typical boss in the fact that he's got that earthquake stop attack, but he also will occasionally engage you in a beam struggle depending on the character you are. And I think those beam struggles are, a pretty decent touch. Right, but here's another race, so we need to leave Captain America and the Vision for our friend Spitfire. So yeah, I got around to seeing Logan relatively late in its run, but I am glad that I went. There were a lot of sort of personal things that movie sort of welled up in me. I wouldn't say it's my favorite superhero movie, because there's a big difference between how I feel about Logan and how I feel about a movie like, Captain America: Civil War, or Deadpool, or something like that. I enjoyed the storytelling in Captain America: Civil War, and I enjoyed the comedy of Deadpool, but neither of those movies made me feel like the way I felt while watching Logan. And I think that, I think that says something very nice about that movie. It's just a shame that, after that particular performance, that we're probably not going to see Hugh Jackman's Wolverine again unless Fox decides to merge with the MCU sometime sooner rather than later, or B, they pull everybody together in a Deadpool movie, because that seems to be a thing that both Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart would like to do, because, everyone just has fun with making movies with Ryan Reynolds, and everybody, I think, loved the way that Deadpool turned out. All right, you would think that after all this time we would have sort of figured out these flying races. Not really. Still very much capable of missing one of the rings, or picking the wrong angle and going above it or below it or around it, and having to backtrack and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if the Vision is necessarily any more stable a flyer than the Iron Patriot was. I think it just has to do with how careful I try to control him. As we continue to fly around here. The ups and downs are the tricky thing. So there we go. I didn't know Thanos had a helicopter, but we've unlocked it. And now we're going to move to, I think, the last thing that we're going to get to in this part of Manhattan, and that is talking to Taskmaster.
But I have already mastered all the sequences. Think you can master these moves?
Taskmaster has challenged us to a dance-off, which is kind of interesting, because Taskmaster's whole deal is that he's able to predict your moves before you do them, assuming that he's ever fought you before, or seen you fight. It's kind of backwards for him to be the first guy to dance, because, if he saw what you did first, he most likely would be able to copy it, and then probably do a little bit better. Taskmaster, from what I understand in the comics and the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon show, which again, it's not the best reference for things, but you got to go with what I've seen. Taskmaster's sort of sometimes hero, sometimes villain, all times difficult. So, it's just the way it is. We're going to be spending a lot of time in Manhattan until we clean everything out, so I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.